Invincible.
Hello everybody, welcome into Las Vegas Motor Speedway for Race 3 of the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. We did have a little bit of tough technical difficulties getting the stream on tonight. Nothing that's going to affect us, just some last minute things we're trying to set up for these drivers. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. We thank you for watching here on Ghost Racing Network. Starting with your race info, as stated just a moment ago, we are at one of the most famous tracks in NASCAR. It is Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Very fast, high-banked, mile-and-a-half oval for the Las Vegas Spring 200. Track temp, a little bit cooler than what you would normally see here in Vegas. Weather is going to be partly cloudy. Pretty windy, though. Winds at 15 miles an hour. We'll see if that plays any effect on these drivers. 28% humidity as we are in the desert. Pretty dry. And 66 degrees is the temperature outside. Let's jump right into your starting grids. It looks like we do have a pretty strong field. We're going to have to go through it a little bit quicker because the laps here not quite as long as they are at some of the tracks we've been to. Starting first, grab the pole tonight is going to be Sean Kaltenbach in the 2-car. Tis outside. Tyler Marble third. Nicholas Isaacs. Alan Pajari, last week's winner in a thrilling finish, starts fourth. Joshua Watson fifth. Carl Dotson sixth. Tracy Powers seventh. Eighth. Jeff Barnes ninth. Danny Gutierrez 10th. Cody James 11th. Brian Watson 12th. Austin Fitzgerald. Ryan Curry starts 13th. Ryan Shiro 14th. Row 8 is Bill Benedict and Brian Coughlin. Row 9 is going to be Scott Glasso and Jeff Marble. 19th, Cody Graham. 20th, Andy Tico. 21st, Andrew Nieder. 22nd, Richard Elliott. 23rd, Ryan Haynes. 24th, Andrew Kotska. 25th, Cody Richardson. 26th, Jacob Musso. 27th, Dave Sanders. Rounding out row 14 is going to be Scott Naisland. 29th, Johnny McCallcheck. 30th, Todd Shiro. 31st, Jeff Shutt. 32nd, Jeffrey Isaacs. 33rd, Kyle Oakley. 34th, Joe Musso. 35th, Glenn Grigsby. 36th, Patrick Stein. And the last two cars in the field is going to be Cody Matthews in 37th and Jeffrey Souza in 38th. Pace car is getting ready to roll off. We'll have a lot to talk about here once we kind of get into the race. But before we get all the way there, we got to get through this restart, and it's going to be really wild here. Multiple grooves in Vegas. We'll see if Sean Kaltenbach can scoot away. Tyler Marble almost got the win last week. He's looking for redemption. Let's see what happens. Green flag is out here in Sin City. Pretty good restart from that inside line. Can Sean Kaltenbach get clear as they dive into turn one for the first time? Sure enough, he does no issues in that 2-car early. Good to see Sean ran fast in qualifying. We'll see how his car can handle. Long run's going to be key with this 134 lap affair. And further back, everybody's still dicing it around for position. They know how important it is to get it while you can. And boy, they make this racetrack look a lot wider than it is. We are going to see plenty of 2 wide, some 3 wide on these restarts. Don't know if we'll necessarily see anybody going 4 wide, as that seems like it'd be a little tighter and a little bit harder to do here at Vegas. But oh, you see the 08 Danny Gutierrez winner at Daytona, and he's the first driver I want to get to. Very happy to see Danny back out. Had him in our prayers the last couple weeks that he's been dealing with some personal issues, unfortunately. Danny did have a family passing. Glad that he had some time to grieve over it, and everybody is certainly happy to see him back here at the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Hoping to have a good run tonight. He currently sits 9th in the 08 machine for JBR E-Racing. Moving back a little bit in the field, Brian Watson currently in 10th. Cody James just behind him. Austin Fitzgerald just falling back to 14th. But up front, looks like Sean Kaltenbach starting to pull away just a little bit. Clean air, very important at these 1.5 miles where aerodynamics are name of the game. Tires as well, and these guys only have 3 sets of tires. And remember last week at Auto Club, we saw the long runs really meant whoever could conserve their tires the best made it work. We heard how Alan Pajari used them up the first run. He learned from it quick. The second run, he made sure to stay conservative, and he had the most stuff rather, out of anybody at the end when he needed it the most. Tyler Marble still trying to get back to the inside of the 9 of Nicholas Isaacs, but that outside looks to be a little quicker right now, and that's a strong move right there from the 9 car here in the early running. Alan Pajari looks like he's just kind of sitting comfortable behind, doesn't want to get too aggressive right now. And while everybody's starting to single file out, let's start from the back and work our way forward. It's going to be Glenn Grigsby as the last car in the field right now, currently running 38 down 3 spots from where he started. Didn't look too fast in qualifying, but it's a long race. And he's still got a lot of time to go. Cody Matthews currently running 37th. That's going to be Patrick Steen 36th. Kyle Oakley 35th. Todd Shiro 34th. And Joe Musso looks to be the farthest back at the moment. Musso Speed Shop driver in 33rd. Jeffrey Souza up in the 32nd spot in the 96 car. Jacob Musso a couple spots ahead of his teammate in 31st. Johnny McCallchuck in 30th. Jerry Isaacs right now just gains a spot over Cody Graham. Moves him up to 28th. Jeff Shutt 26th. Scott Naslin 25th. If we move up a couple spots, we'll see Richard Elliott in 22nd. Just behind him is going to be Dave Sanders. Cody Richardson currently runs in 21st, up 4 spots from where he started. Good run here early from the 46 car. Andrew Neidhart 19th. Andy Tico 18th. Ryan Conklin 17th. Bill Benedict the 3rd 16th. And after that, it's your top 15. And we don't really need to name them off because we'll see all of them just about in this front camera view. But coming out of turn 4, Sean Kaltenbach still in charge here on lap 7, coming to lap 8. With that 100% fuel window, I'm not sure the exact laps that these guys will be able to make on it. If I had to guess, at 1.5 miles, they should probably be able to go somewhere in the 60s, maybe closer to the 70s would be my best guess at it. Again, I'm not 100% sure. We'll have a better idea of it after we see the first pit stops. One thing that we are seeing that we didn't see last week is everybody looks a lot more comfortable with their setups. The cars really look to be in the driver's control than what we had last week. Vegas, a lot smoother track. There is some bumps, though, at turn 1, and we can actually ride on board here with your leader, Sean Kaltenbach, as he goes into turn 1 and hits these bumps. If he rides the bottom, here you go. Watch this. You hear it right there. That's the bottom of the car hitting the track because it gets really bumpy, especially the closer you are to that bottom on turn 1. And that's where he lifts off the throttle because you don't want to be in the gas. That car hits the wrong bump the wrong time. And all of a sudden, those back 2 tires are coming off the ground. You are around and in the wall. That would certainly not be a good scene early on. Well, we've seen a couple different lines. Let's see what Nicholas Isaacs runs. Caution is out. Not sure for what here, but yes, we do have our first car. Oh, here you go. Got a couple cars involved. That's Danny Gutierrez. The 47 slides in. Andrew Kotska in the 25. Tracy Powers. Ooh, somebody just snuck through. Looks like that is the 89 of Patrick Steen. Nice job avoiding that. But let's see what brings out the first caution of the night. Didn't look like a huge wreck, but it did look like a couple guys got involved. So this is going to start somewhere with Tracy Powers and the 08 of Danny Gutierrez. This is coming down the front stretch. We'll back this up a little bit more. Let's watch from TV1 first. You see the 25 here. Looks like the 08 is just under Tracy, and looks like Tracy's trying to come down to shut the door right now, at least. And there it is. Slight contact. That's all it takes. That's going to send the 25 spinning right in front of the 08 of Danny Gutierrez. And now he's sliding back up on track. Let's see, is there going to be more heavy contact right here? Ooh, yeah, that's a pretty good hit from the 74 of Austin Fitzgerald. And he may have a broken toe link. You got to hope not. We'll have to see. Looks like Tracy Powers, though, and Danny Gutierrez get away without too much damage. But they are, you see the 47, Andrew Kotska is trying to sneak by here. Right there in the 47, couldn't quite make it by. I'll tell you who did just squeak by, and that looks like it is going to be Cody James. Or was that Cody Richardson? It's one of the Codys. I believe that was actually Cody Richardson because it was the 46. Boy, he did a nice job of sneaking by there. And then right here, how about the 89? Patrick Steen. I mean, you talk about close. It does not get much closer than that. Let's get a couple more views of this. Let's try TV2, see if we can get a better idea of just exactly how he hits him here. And actually, let's do the chopper. It seems to be the best looking angle we have right now. We'll back it up a little bit more because you see the contact has already been made at this point. Watch right here. Oh, looks like maybe the 25's just coming down a little bit. The 08 maybe just coming up a little bit. It's not really giving the best view right now from it. I'm trying to really decipher which one it is. We'll take another view from the blimp cam here if this helps out at all. So watch each driver's line. It looks like the 08, Danny, he seems to be diving low here. The 25's trying to follow. I mean, man, it's close. If it was nothing, that one's hard to tell. They just slight contact, but that's all it takes in these cars to send them around right there. Boom. There's the big hit from the 74 Austin Fitzgerald. And Andrew Kotska comes along. Pretty big shot. And you know who I didn't somehow notice in the first one but was involved in that was the 22 Scott Naisland. He actually looks like he got the worst damage out of it as you saw him come flying in. And watch it from the cockpit view here. He sees it. He's trying to dive low, and unfortunately at that point, just too late. Yeah, that might be a night ender right there for Scott Naisland. But let's get right on board with some of these guys who did a heck of a job getting through it. One of those is going to be Cody Richardson. Watch this. Whew, just dives right by at the last second. Another one of them is going to be Patrick Steen in the 89. Watch from his nose cam because, boy, you talk about can't get any closer. Watch this. Oh, man. Just like almost like a chicane, but a moving one. Danny Gutierrez was trying to get it backfired and back rolling. Let's go back live. Talk about your top fives. It looks like they have already gotten ready back to go. We took a little bit of a long replay. I do apologize. But as it runs right now, it is going to be Sean Kaltenbach first. Second, Nicholas Isaacs. Third, Tyler Marble. Fourth is going to be Cody James. And the last car right now in the top five is Alan Pajari. Don't think anybody really took a set of tires yet because they're too valuable. I think we had everybody stay out just about except for some of the back runners. So here we go. Sean Kaltenbach rolling to the right Geico restart zone. We'll see if Nicholas Isaacs can take advantage. He looked pretty fast on that outside early on. Green flag is back out in Las Vegas. Another really good restart from that bottom lane. It looks like that is the place to be at here early on. Sean Kaltenbach, though, is going to try to get a little bit of an arc and see if he can pull away here down into turn one. And I know it's really early, but each time we have a restart, you'll notice they will get a little bit more and more aggressive. And that is because track position becomes so crucial, especially on new tires, as we are going to see a move here from the 48. Tyler Marble tries to drop low. Sean Kaltenbach says no, sir. Is going to take it back, running that momentum line up top. Ooh, the 9, Nicholas Isaacs, gives a little shot to the back bumper of the 48, Tyler Marble. And as they're getting into, oh, that got really tight real quick between the 9 He's able to keep it just off Alan Pajari. Boy, that got really, really close. And look who's sneaking their way up in here, and that's going to be Brian Curry in the 28. Brian having a nice run so far. One of the Fords in the field. And looks like he is actually one of 3 Fords that is currently in the top 5. We've got a good mix of Chevys and Fords out here in the top 10. Alan Pajari, the Big Gut sponsor, running just behind him in 5th. Cody James up 4 spots in 6th. And some of your biggest movers right now include Jeffrey Souza, who is up to 24th, 14 spots from where he started. And it looks like Danny Gutierrez is still sitting on pit road. So is Tracy Powers, Austin Fitzgerald as well, Scott Naslin on pit road. Glenn Grigsby is back out on track, up 2 spots from where he started in 33rd. Kyle Oakley 32nd. Carl Dotson 28th. Jacob Musso 25th. That is your basic rundown through the field right now. We'll keep it up front. This track position is important, especially early on, so everybody's going to keep fighting for it. We will see as the run goes on, everybody starts to spread out eventually. You just kind of got to give them some time to do it. But right now, man, that 2 look fast. And just as I say that, Nicholas Isaacs has found his way around the 2 of Sean Kaltenbach. And now the question becomes, how good is this 2 car in Dirty Air? He's been out front since the drop of the green, but now he's behind the 9. Can he get back out in front before those tires wear down too much? Or has he maybe used up his stuff? Everybody has different setups. Some of these guys have their setups meant to be good on the long run. Others design them for the short run. That's what makes some of these races so good, so interesting. Sad music is my only happy. He says broken ankles to Jukes. I think that was in reference to the dodge by the 89 we saw in that last incident. Patrick Steen. Fortunately for Patrick, by doing that, he is still sitting in 34th right now. But he might be a little timid after what he just witnessed. Up front, though, looks like the 9, just off his line, might be running a little harder. Let's see if he can ride from the back view. Look at his telemetry here, why don't we? See some of the speeds these guys get up to. Yeah, he's running a different line. Almost looks like a little bit more of an arc than the 2 of Sean Kaltenbach. Down the front stretch, Sean gets that big draft coming up to turn 1. He can't run the same line, though, for too long because as each lap goes by and those tires get worn, Dirty Air hurts that second car line more and more. But you see right here how that 9 slides up a lot earlier. And that just makes me wonder if he's wasting a little bit more tire right now as they rock it up to just about 190, entering turn 3 on the backstretch. Look at this from the pit lane cameras here as the field goes roaring by you. They should get a little bit faster on the front, always making turns 1 and 2 the sketchiest spots on the track. These guys cannot go full throttle through these turns. Even early on, the car just can't really rotate that quick. The back end is very unstable in these next gens, 1.5 miles, so you got to really pedal the throttle. Let's remind you about that weather real quick that we talked about earlier because it's a pretty big factor. I mean, you see it right there. Wind is at 15 miles an hour, and it's coming from 225, which is somewhere between, that's going to be south and southwest, so that should be south-southwest wind. But 15 miles an hour can definitely play a factor. Gives you some extra speed down one of the straights and slows you down the next. The 2 of Sean Kaltenbach has kind of gotten comfortable sitting there, hasn't really made too many more moves. Tyler Marble has fallen back a little bit since this restart. He now races side by side with Alan Pajari in the 34. And I think these 2 are making sure they're nice and conservative, don't want to burn their stuff up. How about Andrew Niedert, the 36, running 7th right now, up 14 spots from where he started. Scott Glasso in the 4 had an incident last week with the 91, covering nicely so far as he is running in the top 10 at the moment. Back a little bit farther in the field, you find Bill Benedict here in 16th out of Archdale, North Carolina. Cody Richardson now up 7 spots from where he started in 18th. Jeff Marble, one of the Team Marble iRacing drivers, they had a really, really strong showing last week at Auto Club. 2 of their drivers finished in the top 5. Tyler Marble and Jeff Marble. Abe Sanders, 21st. Jeff Shutt, 22nd. How about Johnny McCulcheck? No Excuses Racing, up 6 spots from where he started. Carl Dotson, on the other hand, going the opposite direction right now. Not what he wanted to do. Driver out of Milton, Florida, has currently fallen back 19 spots. And with no guaranteed cautions, and the more green flag stops we get, the more likely it is that we won't see a caution. You really want to try to start making your way through the field now. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. The good news is with pit stops, you can make up a lot of time at tracks like this depending on how fast you can get on pit road compared to some of the other guys. Looks like Sean Kaltenbach was thinking about putting a battle for the lead on the 9 of Nicholas Isaacs, but that move was defended pretty quickly. And this is where we might see whoever has the better long run car starting to prevail. Let's get right on board here with the 9. Listen to see if we hear any tire squeal in the corners. And you hear it there. He is really playing with the throttle. You compare that to Sean Kaltenbach. I know it was a little bit late, but he's a lot smoother on the throttle right now. He just sounds like that car is a lot more comfortable in the back end than that leader is. And remember, they do handle differently. You got more downforce being out in front, more air on the nose than you do being right behind the leader. And that sometimes can play a factor, especially as grip wears on. The back end wants to start swinging around more as the nose pinches down to the track. The 2 of Sean Kaltenbach. He's trying to hold off charging Brian Curry, who is up 10 spots from where he started. Really good run right now from one of the Team Watson Racing drivers. Actually, both of them, to be honest. Sean Kaltenbach retakes the lead. You just saw it right there, and he is another one of the Team Watson Racing drivers. And I don't think I made as much excitement of that as there was to be made, because the 9 Nicholas Isaacs looked like he got a little bit tight, and that's all the 2 needed to get right under and go by. And this is part of the problem of just one slip up. Look how many spots the 9 is falling right now. He's going to have to try to slide in right here behind the 28 of Brian Curry, and he's going to be able to do it this time. But if he wouldn't have been able to slide in right there, he was going to have another 3 to 4 cars getting around him. Let's go back, check out some of these battles happening mid-pack while the leaders continue to sort it out. Single file. Looks like we do have a battle right now for 15th between Cody Richardson and Andy Tico. Andy on the inside, but it looks like Cody is going to use the momentum down that front stretch to pull away from the nose of the 65. And now he's going to set his sights for the 14 of Jeff Barnes. And here's a good run here from Jeff. Jeff, not sure if he's necessarily a new driver this week. And again, I'm still learning some of these guys, so you got to forgive me if I just maybe am missing something. But having a strong run right here, up inside the top 20. Remember, with 37 cars starting the field, if you're running inside the top 20, it's a pretty decent day. I know some of these guys expect a little bit more than others, but nothing to be ashamed of right there. Let's pull up your track map here. Go to the blimp cam to show you just how spread out they're already getting. It looks like they're taking up about half the track, and then you have the 37 sitting pretty far back right now. That is going to be Danny Gutierrez in the 08. He's got it fixed up enough, but he is laps down. His race is over. Yeah, you see it, 13 laps down. Tracy Powers 10 laps down. Scott Naslund 15 down. It looks like Austin Fitzgerald has also fallen a lap down to 74. These were all some of those guys that had damage in that initial wreck. And it looks like Nicholas Isaacs is continuing to fall right now in the 9. He is back to 6th place, down 3 spots from where he started, but he's getting passed by Andrew Nieder. And now he's about to be under attack here from Scott Glasso in the 4. And it's looking like he's going to have to make some adjustments next time they come down pit road, because that 9 just not handling the way he wants it to right now. Not nearly close, not even that close really to halfway through this race just yet. So there's still a lot of time for wiggle room. If something doesn't feel comfortable right now, take a big swing at it during these next round of pit stops. But if you can't get it right, you might be in trouble. How about Richard Elliott right now in the 0-2? Oh, we got a little smoke up ahead. Looks like everybody keeps it fine. I'm not sure what exactly that was. Maybe somebody just sliding the tires a little bit, or maybe slight contact with the wall, most likely. But Richard Elliott's trying to work around right now the 21 of Cody James. Looks like the 37 Brian Conklin's going to follow. Cody Richardson is also continuing to pass people. He's up to 14th spot. Trying to outdo Jeffrey Souza, who's on his outside, but Jeffrey looks like he is going to carry the speed down the backstretch. Jeffrey Souza's up 24 spots from where he started. That 96 car looks like it has come to life all of a sudden. 33 laps of the 134 down so far. We've seen a decent amount of lead changes. Good battling further back in the pack. And these are the guys that not really going to be able to manage their tires as much, as it looks like Jeff Marble now is trying to work his way around Cody Richardson. What we have not seen so far tonight, I'm a little surprised about, is a lot of 3 wide. I'm sure there's been some throughout the field, but we sure Haven't seen it up here in the broadcast booth just yet. One caution so far. Sean Kaltenbach started on the pole, lost the lead for a little bit to Nicholas Isaacs, but he has reclaimed it. The next 5 cars behind him, though, not letting him go anywhere. Scott Glasso is trying to catch this little lead pack, if you will. And that lead pack, as it runs, is going to be Sean Kaltenbach, Brian Curry, Tyler Marble, Alan Pajari, and Andrew Neidart for those 5 cars. But Scott Glasso about to tag onto the back. Meanwhile, Nicholas Isaacs looks like he continues to fall from this pack. Joshua Watson starting to slowly creep his way up here. That's another one of the JBR e-racing drivers. We saw him very, very fast during Fast Track Cup Series Speed Weeks, done by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Him and Joshua Watson, because that was just Brian Watson that we were looking at. Both 2 of the really fast Super Speedway drivers. They haven't seemed to find their rhythm quite as quick here at the 1.5 miles, but Joshua Watson, remember, he was really fast last week, almost won, made some contact with the wall late, and that was all that Alan Pajari had needed to get by in a thrilling last lap where Tyler Marble dove it in, gave it everything he could on the last corner. Couldn't quite get Alan Pajari, but they made contact. I thought for sure one of them would go around. They didn't. And wrapped it up. Let's go a little bit farther back of the field, see how some of these drivers that are in the 20-ish areas are doing. Looks like Bill Benedict in 23rd, down 8 spots from where he started. Jacob Musso. Cody Matthews, though, he's going in the positive direction right now, up 11 spots. Todd Shearer runs 28th. Cody Graham in the 91, currently running 30th out of Liverpool, New York. I do want to apologize, as last week there was an incident involving Cody that I misspoke on it. From the quick replay we had, it looked like it may have been him making contact, but we went back and looked at it farther, and it was actually the car that he was racing that came down on him. We never try to put these drivers under the bus, that's for sure. Sometimes replays make it harder than it is to see, but I hope that everybody out there watching is currently enjoying here on a Monday night in Sin City at Las Vegas. If we go here later in the year, which I believe we might, gotta think we'll maybe be under the lights next time. We'll have to see. Still quite a ways before we get there on the schedule. And speaking of schedule, Matt, that was part of the technical difficulties that I had this week, was getting the schedule and some of the points up, so we will not have that for display this week. I do apologize, but I will make sure that that is back up and running smoothly next week. And 39, just coming to lap 40 here in the desert. Let's do a little Fast Track Sim Racing, crank it up. Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that. Well, everybody's kind of single filing out, and we're waiting for the pit stops. Looks like we are going to see a battle for the lead. Sean Kaltenbach is under attack from the 48 of Tyler Marble. We know how good Tyler's been on the long run so far. At this point in the season, he shows that he can save his tires just as good as anybody else. Looked like we may have had one smoking a little bit on the front. Trying to find where that was. Everybody may be okay. Ooh, Danny Gutierrez. Potentially. I'm not sure. Let's see if anything happened to him here. May have just been a regular pit stop. Nope, nope. It looks like he spun indeed. Didn't get any data on it, but I saw some smoke. And he might just lose by himself. He has some damage. And, yep, looks like the back end just comes right around. He's trying to hold on to it here. Gets a little bit on the apron, then spins it out, locks it down. Slides on the pit road. Thankfully, doesn't collect anybody else. Doesn't give himself any further damage. Turns it back around, and he gets right back on track to keep going. Go back live and up front. Tyler Marble has taken the lead over now from Sean Kaltenbach in the 2. Joshua Watson also getting up in this battle, and that lead tightened up all of a sudden in a hurry. And this might be where we see some of the drivers that saved their tires ready. And this is almost going to invert the top 10 because now we see drivers such as Joshua Watson, Alan Pajari trying to get up here. Ooh, the 2 of Sean Kaltenbach tried to slide high, but the 01 has too much momentum. Joshua Watson side by side down the front with Sean Kaltenbach, and now he sets his sights for the leader of Tyler Marble. Tyler and Jeff, you got to think they're running pretty similar setups. But here we go. We're starting to see a surge from Team Marble iRacing as Jeff Marble, Brian Conklin, and Tyler Marble are all up here right now in the top 10. So they're showing a lot of speed. 46 laps through. Looks like the 4 Scott Glasser, is going to make a pit stop here. So we'll see if this is the start of pit stops potentially for some of these drivers. The 4 was running pretty close to the front, but we'll keep an eye on when these leaders decide to pit. Boy, Joshua Watson, he got around the 48 in a hurry. We looked away for about a quarter of a lap. So we saw the 4 pitting, and just like that, he has went right around. The 2 of Sean Kaltenbach starting to fade just a little bit. So is Brian Curry in the 28. And a couple of these guys hoping they can just make it a little bit longer to their pit stop. Brian Watson has creeped up into the top 5. He's looking to catch up to one of his JBR e-racing teammates who currently leads the field here at Vegas. 48 of 134 laps completed so far. Reminder that the next 3 races for the schedule, next we head to our final stop in the West Coast Swing. That is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, a duel in the desert. After that, we head to the 1.5 mile super speedway of Atlanta, High Banked. First time that these guys are going to be at that track. They were used to the old Atlanta before this. Actually, they may have been at New Atlanta. Either way, that's going to be an exciting race. High bank, fast-paced action. After that, we head to Texas for a 134-lap event. Currently leading in points is Joshua Watson. He's got about a 3-point advantage on second place. Alan Pajari, last week's winner. Jeff Marble, 3rd. Richard Elliott, 4th. Scott Naisland, 5th. Bill Benedict, 6th. Cody Richardson, 7th. Tyler Marble, 8th. Jeff Shutt, 9th, and Tracy Powers, 10th with 44 points. Still no pit stops yet here from the leaders as we are slowly getting a little bit closer to that halfway mark. Got about just under 20 laps, though, before we're going to be there. I saw some smoke. That indicates maybe we had some more pit stops. Looks like Jerry Isaacs in the 51. He is going to bring it down pit road, and I don't think we've called out Jerry tonight, so let's give him a little shout-out. Driver out of St. Louis for Mad Sim Racing. We saw he was pretty fast at Speed Weeks with a couple of his teammates such as Cody Richardson and Andrew Kotska. Since then, we haven't seen as much noise being made from Jerry Isaacs, but still early in the season, some of these drivers just have better track preferences than others. They just do better. We're going to have some road course specialists in here. We've already seen some of our super speedway specialists, and right now we're seeing that Joshua Watson is a specialist of all of them, but it looks like he has indeed come down pit road. It looks like a couple of them have. Brian Watson, Joshua Watson, Tyler Marble, all drivers currently sitting in the pits. Let's see who wins the race out. And this is where it gets a little messy for a while everybody cycles through their pit stops. They are going to have to pit at least one more time before this race is all said and done, though. Potentially twice, we'll see. But everybody trying different strategies. Some people try to pit early, get out there, get an advantage, more laps on fresh tires. Usually allows you to run faster. Those tires are going to wear out quicker than the guy that pits after you. But these two came in at the same time. And we'll see if Tyler Marble maybe can run a little bit faster in the short run. But leading the way now as everybody's still cycling through their pit stops. How about Johnny McCulchek? He's going to get himself some TV time here at Las Vegas, the driver out of Fraser, Michigan. Maybe trying a little bit of a different strategy. And those are two of the guys that just pit who were the leaders, and that's Joshua Watson and Tyler Marble. Man, bumper to bumper, they are getting their lap back right now. The good news for Mikulchek was if he were to get a caution, he'd probably trap most of the field a lap down. The bad news is if he doesn't get that caution, he's losing a lot of time playing this strategy out. Richard Elliott for JBR E-Racing going to join his teammates and running at the front, at least at some point in this race. Here he is in second. Jacob Musso for the Musso Speed Shop running third. Ryan Haynes fourth. Carl Dotson up here in fifth. We saw him start up pretty high, fell back with some issues, but here he is running inside the top 5 for now until pit stops all cycle through. Joe Musso 6th, Cody Graham 7th, Todd Shiro 8th, Kyle Oakley 9th, Patrick Steen rounding out your top 10. 11th is Glenn Grigsby 12th, Scott Glasso 13th, Alan Pajari 14th, Andrew Neidhart, and 15th is going to be Joshua Watson with Tyler Marble 16th just in his draft. Nicholas Isaacs trying to recover after he started so fast. Started to fade. Seemed like maybe didn't have the best long run car. We'll see if the adjustments he made during that pit stop were going to help him out at all or not. Brian Curry 18th. Cody Richardson 19th for Mad Sim Racing. And Brian Watson still looks like he has been getting faster though as the day goes on. He's one of the drivers that tonight hasn't been rushing his way through the field, just kind of slowly creeping around. Ever so slightly getting further and further up the field as it looks like Cody Richardson is unlapping himself right here around the 72 of Johnny Mikulchek. And the reason they are so much faster is because that is just how much of a difference tires make. Here comes the 04 of Brian Watson. Oh, that got a little tight there. Looked like the 72 was maybe trying to hold him off for one more corner. They're not having any of that. Sean Kaltenbach's going to follow him right on by. And there goes the 14 of Jeff Barnes. But yeah, new tires going to play a factor. If we get a caution late in this race and you have tires left over, you are going to be in the catbird seat. If you can be aggressive at the end of these races, then you really can't ask for much more. 57 laps completed here in Las Vegas. If you're just tuning in, you are watching the Las Vegas Spring 200 here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. And we thank you for choosing us here at Ghost Racing Network to enjoy your night with us. And hopefully these drivers are putting on a good show as we see Johnny Mikulchek finally going to bring down pit road. Led a handful of laps there out in front, but he is now going to hand it over to Jacob Musso in the 95, who has Richard Elliott on his tail. Third now is going to be Carl Dotson. Fourth, Ryan Haynes. Rounding out the top 5, it's going to be Jacob Musso's teammate, and that's Joe Musso, both drivers for the Musso Speed Shop in the top 5 right now. And I feel like this is one of those teams, too, where we're going to really start to see something more as the season goes on from not as strong of a start as I think a lot of people maybe anticipated. But we're only in the 3rd race of the season. We still have such a long way to go. I think next week is going to be one of the more important races for everybody, though, as it is going to be Phoenix. That will be where the championship race is, I believe. It's a little far down the season. I haven't double-checked it, but assuming these guys are following the normal NASCAR schedule, we're pretty close to it. I'm not sure, so I think I'm going to go ahead and retract that statement. We'll save it for next week and tell you if we were correct on it or not. Brian Curry, 16th. Had a pretty good day so far. Been a solid top 5 car for Team Watson Racing. His teammates right behind him right now. That's Sean Kaltenbach. So those two, you almost think they're on identical setups, and they both seem to be running it correctly right now as they just get by Nicholas Isaacs. Ryan Watson's going to try to do the same now. Jeff Barnes in the 14. He's having a good run, but unfortunately down 11 spots from where he started. Either way, he's inside the top 20 here at what is not even the halfway mark just yet. So we still have a lot of racing. And here's a pair of Team Marble iRacing drivers of Jeff Marble and Brian Conklin in the 37. Andrew Kotska for Mad Sim Racing has Ryan Shiro behind him in the 20. We saw Ryan show a lot of pole speed last week at Auto Club. Race didn't quite go as well for him. But speed and qualifying like that still gives a team a little bit of momentum, and sometimes all they need is just that little kick start. Just like that, they'll be up here running in the front. Let's go back and see how some of these guys are doing that had troubles earlier. Looks like Danny Gutierrez has retired from the race. So has Jeff Shutt. Scott Naslin is out here in the 22, who we saw take that big hit during that first incident and had nowhere to go. And he is quite a few laps down. In fact, 15 laps down, running here in 32nd. For Hyperforce Esports, the driver out of Lake Camelot, Illinois, probably wanting to get out of Sin City and move on to the duels in the desert next week at Phoenix. Tracy Powers, another driver that spun on that first and only caution. He is still 10 laps down, running in 35th. Jeffrey Souza has fallen a couple laps down for Triad Racing Enterprises. And he must have had, he had to have had a penalty. We saw Jeffrey running pretty good. Not sure exactly what went so wrong from the 74 of Austin Fitzgerald, down 21 spots. He also made some contact in that first incident. Here's Jerry Isaacs. He might be the last car on the lead lap right now. Actually, no, because some of the leaders that still haven't pit have trapped most of these guys lap down, so I do retract that statement. Kyle Oakley is sitting in the pits, and it looks like he may have had an incident. Let's see what happened here to the driver of the 17 in the Shell Pennzoil paint scheme. Good looking paint scheme, but let's see if he maybe just lost it here. He's trying to get on pit road. Oh, sure enough, spins it out. That thing looks like just able to slide back down. Overall, good save. Doesn't make contact with anything, and he's still going to be able to bring down pit road. Unfortunately, that is probably going to be a penalty. Let's take a different view of this and watch from his cockpit view and see if just a little bit of issues here. Trying to get up to speed. Here we go. Yep, sure enough, that's what it is. You heard him on the brakes. He was trying to get it wound up to make his pit stop, but it is hard to do, especially on old tires and these things. And that little mistake is going to cost him quite a bit later. Just now making his way to pit road, but he is going to go multiple laps down from it. In fact, 3 laps down now. Jeffrey Souza still 2 laps down, and right now, a lot of guys would potentially be in the lucky dog spot if we were to see a caution. Only one of them can get it, though, so that's why we're probably going to see a lot of racing for that lucky dog spot, which right now would go to Cody James in the 21, but he's got a lot of people on his tail looking to take it over, including Johnny McCulcheck, Ryan Shiro, Bill Benedict. And you got to go a little bit farther back to find Andy Tico in the 65. Jacob Musso still leading, but he is about to be under fire here from Carl Dotson in the 29. Ryan Haynes also looking to catch this battle. And there goes the 21, Cody James. That's going to move the 72 to the lucky dog, but just like that, he will also go by all these guys on new tires, and the longer you stay out, the more track position you will lose if that caution weren't to fly. Carl Dotson not really anywhere to go right now. On old tires, the lines just get harder to use because wherever you enter, you can't move around much in the turn. And he is just kind of riding right now behind Jacob, just waiting for these they're lap cars now. They're getting their lap back to go by. Maybe think about making a move. You see he's trying to run a different line, about a lane lower. And we talked about it earlier, and we're going to keep talking about it because it's so important that you just can't afford to run in the dirty air, the car behind you, for too long on old tires. It wears your tires out more. It makes your handling even worse. And oh, right there, you see how the 29 got down. Now look how much he's going up the track. That is, you know what, and I want to show you guys a quick replay of this because, I mean, that's a perfect example of that dirty air. Watch the cockpit view here of Carl Dotson. And as he gets down in the turn right here, and I'll kind of explain to you, watch this. So he's going to dive it down. He's in clean air right now. Here he goes. He's got the bottom. And then right there, you see, as soon as the 95 jumps in front of him, it's going to take all the air off the nose of that 29 car, and it sends him right up the track. And you heard the tires squealing. So he was feeling it right there, doing everything to keep it out of the wall. But that's also important for some of the leaders because if it ends on a long run, those are the kind of games that the leaders will be playing, and it makes it so hard to pass them. You can get close if you have a fast car, but getting by somebody is a whole different story. They will take away your line. They have spotters. They're looking in their mirrors. And right now, it looks like Tyler Marble is leading the battle of guys who have already pit. He runs 10th. Just behind him, though, Joshua Watson, who isn't ready to let him go. Sean Kaltenbach, currently 12th. Brian Curry, 13th. Brian Watson, 14th. Nicholas Isaacs, 15th. Jeff Barnes, 16th. Jeff Marble, 17th. Brian Conklin, 18th. Cody Richardson, 19th. Dave Sanders rounding out the top 20. So we have had a couple cars retire. A lot of people with troubles here. A lot more trouble here early on at Vegas than what we saw early on at Auto Club. And we are over halfway through this race. Very, very clean racing so far, as it looks like Carl Dotson finally was able to get around Jacob Musso in the 95, We have seen a couple of spinners. Luckily, they've all been off turn 4 down to the pits. And we have not seen any other caution. If you are just joining in, you haven't missed too much. But right now, we're still waiting to see how all these pit stops are going to cycle through. Carl Dotson, Jacob Musso, they have not pitted yet. Once they do, they are going to have lost so much touch with the leaders. But this is that strategy you commit to. We are in Vegas, so you might as well gamble. But I don't think it's going to pay off this time, as the house always wins. Ryan Haynes currently third, up 20 spots from where he started. Jacob Musso up 24 spots from where he started. But Joe Musso is going to tie one of his teammates in Jacob Musso as the hardest chargers right now. He is also up 24 spots. Tracy Powers and Danny Gutierrez down 28 and 29 spots respectively after they were both involved in an incident. Danny Gutierrez actually got back out on track. Was unfortunately involved in another incident. Single car by himself spun. No caution came out, but it did make him lose another lap, unfortunately. Right, it's right on the gearbox here, actually. Some of these guys that are pretty close. They're right on the gearbox here of Dave Sanders. He has Andrew Kotska just behind him. Oh, actually, he must have wiped up a little bit as Andrew is going to get right on by on the inside. And early on, we saw everybody kind of trying to hold the bottom lane into turn 1. It's really cool to see the different lines, though. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a view of some of the people running these different lines. Your leader right now, Carl Dotson. See the line he takes here in turns 3 and 4. And it looks like he is going to go with hugging the white line. See if you can find somebody that's running high so I can show what I'm talking about right here. And it looks like Alan Pajari is going to be one of those, not all the way at the top lane like we see in real life where they can really rip the wall. But he's running that middle lane. But here we go. Carl Dotson is made his way down the pit roads. So has one of the Mussos, I believe. Yep, Jacob Musso as well has also decided to pit. And they are going to lose a lot of time, as the leaders had actually got within 10 seconds. So if they would have stayed out another potentially 10 laps, although I'm not sure they had enough fuel, they would have been in danger of getting past before they even made their pit stop. Going to take full fuel and 4 tires as the 95 leaves his pit stop. That hands the lead over now to Scott Glasso in the 4 car. Tyler Marble second. But here we go. 3 wide move on the outside. Andrew Neidhart, Tyler Marble, and Joshua Watson. Some hard racing. That might have been the first 3 wide we saw of the night. And it looks like Joshua Watson's going to prevail riding that middle to top line. And he gets by the 48 of Tyler Marble. But it looks like Tyler's not done fighting back. He's going to try to get in the draft down the back stretch. Not quite able to close it back up on that time. Diving into turn 3, Joshua Watson going to try to pull away from this battle behind him a little bit. Austin Fitzgerald is one of the lappers. Newer tires, though, he's still fighting with these guys. Nicholas Isaacs currently running 10th. Still doesn't seem to have found the balance he wants on that 9 car, but it looks to be getting a little bit better. Brian Conklin in the 37 currently runs 11th. Andrew Kotska in the 47. That's a Mad Sim Racing driver. And that's a pair of teammates, actually, because just in front of Andrew in 13th is his teammate, Cody Richardson. Let's see how far back Carl Dotson fell. Carl Dotson and Jacob Musso from that. Yeah, Jacob Musso is now falling back to 25th spot with that strategy. Carl Dotson back to 22nd in the 29 machine. Scott Glasso doesn't have that much longer before the leader's going to be there, because Joshua Watson is now only a quarter of a second behind that 4 car, and he is a lot faster. So when he gets there, will the 4 think about trying to block right now? Does he try to hold him off? Maybe somehow, some way the tires even out, but I don't know. Joshua Watson just looks so fast right now. Tyler Marble has actually fallen off the bumper a little bit. Watson right now, and he's going to have to catch back up. You don't want to let that 01 get away and get in clean air without having a say in it yourself. Driver out of Buffalo, New York. Let's look at the blimp cam again here and pull up the track map. We showed you it earlier, but I mean, look at it. Just look how busy it is. Drivers all over the track. We got somebody in turn 4, somebody in turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. I mean, it looks like Bristol, but we're not there. We're at Las Vegas, but green flag runs, this is what they do. This is what makes the racing great. This is how you get those battles all the way around the track. It's when you give everybody time to really spread out. See which cars are the fastest in the long run. Separates the men from the boys. But for anybody that missed it last week, I wish we would have had a clip of it. Maybe you have to start doing that in the future. What a thrilling finish we had out in California last time before that track is going to be torn down in real life. But on coming to, it was 3 laps to go, coming to 2 laps to go. Joshua Watson, who was leading so much of the race and leading at the end, tapped the wall. And we saw Tyler Marble take over the lead from it, diving down into turn 1. Or was it? No, Alan Pajari had actually went by all of them, excuse me. Into turn 1, we saw Joshua Watson try to make a dive bomb move. He almost made it work too, the slide job. He tried to clear both, couldn't quite do it. He made contact, and that put Tyler Marble just behind the 34 of Alan Pajari going into turn 3, and he gave it everything he had. He dove low. It just wasn't quite enough, though. I think he needed a little bit more. Made some contact. And Alan Pajari came home a winner. He was very excited about it, too, and we got him in the interview booth. And Austin Fitzgerald, with damage, has new tires right now, but he is still struggling to get around to get one of his laps back right now. Austin Fitzgerald does sit 2 laps down. That's pretty impressive considering the damage he has. He would, however, need quite a few cautions here as he is not in lucky dog position right now. But 83 of 134 laps completed so far here in the desert at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That looked like the 91 there of Cody Graham. Getting back up to speed. I wasn't sure what happened. I was trying to see if, but it looks like he was just completing a pit stop. He's going to go 3 wide real quick with the 04 of Brian Watson and the 95, Jacob Musso. Up front, Joshua Watson is starting to pull away from Tyler Marble. Tyler's trying to catch back up. Andrew Niedert and those top 3 have broken away a little bit from the second pack right now, which is being made up of Sean Kaltenbach, Scott Glasso, Alan Pajari, Ryan Curry, Brian Watson, Jeff Marble, and Brian Conklin is going to be the last car in that pack. Jeff Barnes, pretty good run for one of his first races. Currently sits 11th. I know it's down 3 spots from where he started, but if you're qualifying in the top 10, you can't feel bad if you're sitting just outside of it 85 laps through. I mean, this is a grueling race with only 1 caution early on. These guys have to mentally make sure that they stay focused. It just takes 1 slip up. These cars are not easy to handle on any lap. The Xfinity and trucks are no easy thing either, but definitely a little bit easier what we're seeing here in the Cup cars. And actually a truck race here at Las Vegas almost looks similar to a big single file drafting line, as the trucks can go wide open here. The Cup cars, they cannot. And we'll ride on board here so you can hear it. Joshua Watson will also show you his dashboard. So watch his speed here. Gets up to about 185. Earlier that would have been about 190 entering turn 1. Down to 160 through the middle of the corner. And he's running 5th. Let's see how many RPMs he gets up to here. Looks like he's going to get close to the 9,000 mark. And that's one of the cool things about custom setups, is that these guys can set it up that way. If we were on fixed setups, they would not be running quite that fast at the end of the straightaway as the gears are already preset. These guys will actually make those gears a little bit shorter, at least that 5th gear. And going into turn 1 is where they're really usually maxing it out at. Pretty fast. That wind also playing a factor in some of the speeds that we were seeing. Remember, at 15 miles an hour here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Ride with someone that's further back in the pack here. Let's get on board here with Cody Richardson. Up 13 spots. Just had a good run so far all day. Seeing if he can cap it off by maybe getting himself inside the top 10. He still has a little while to do it. We are closing up on 46 laps to go here in Las Vegas. Of course, I may have confused some people by saying that. Not quite 46 laps. I was referring to Cody Richardson in the 46. Still got a little ways before 46 laps to go. Actually, no, it is 46 laps to go. I don't know. I just had classes all day. I'm out here tired. Watching these guys, though, is a blast. Tyler Marble actually takes the lead over. So what happened all of a sudden here? They're side by side. Boy, he ran him down in a hurry. Not sure Joshua maybe had a little bit of an issue, or if Tyler was just saving his tires longer so that he could do what he's doing right here, which is get right on by on the outside. The 01 not going to be able to hang on the quarter panel, so the new leader is going to be the 48 of Tyler Marble. How can Joshua Watson react here? Tyler going to pin him down. That pulls the nose of the 01 up just a little bit. But wow, big run from the 01 of Joshua Watson. Actually going to get back to the there's contact. Can the 01 hold on to it? Oh, he does. What a save. Oh, that got really too close for comfort. And that is going to allow the gap to close big time for Andrew Nieder. Wow, what a save. But, man, that got really close. Let's go back and take a look at this real quick. I was surprised to see the 01 hold such a run off turn 4. Then when they got on the front stretch, it was no give and take. Watch this. The 01 trying to hang on the side. The 48 maybe thought he was clear. Wow, he made pretty big contact with the left front of Joshua Watson. Really, really good save by both of those drivers, especially the 01. And let's ride on board with them real quick, because I'm telling you, this was a pretty wicked save, especially on tires this old. I mean, he got in the grass, too. Usually when you get in the grass, it's over. Watch this. Boom, 48 tries to clear. Wow, had the wheel back to the right. Joshua Watson, though, holds on. Will that affect his tires all that much, though? Sometimes just one little slide. Apparently not, though, because he has reclaimed the lead as we watch the replay. And this is a pretty good battle here between the 48 and the 01 of Joshua Watson. They've got a couple lappers still hanging with them. One of those has been Austin Fitzgerald, who has just stayed up here. Looks like, I believe that's going to be Jacob Musso, if that's the 95. Can't tell just yet. And he should be looking to get one of his laps back here, as he is on much newer tires. And sure enough, it is going to be the 95. Tried a strategy earlier, didn't work out, and that is indeed what has Jacob Musso back here in the 18th spot. Going to get around Tyler. Now he's going to try to get around Joshua Watson. And lap cars play a pretty important role in how some of these lead changes shake up and whatnot. You catch a lap car at the wrong time on old tires. We talk about the dirty air. Well, that can really hurt you. And I mean, you see on your track map, the 01 is highlighted with that 1 in the green circle around him. You see just how many cars there still are in front of him. With what is just about to be 40 laps to go, he still has a lot of time to catch a lot of different lappers. We are going to see one more pit stop, and it is going to be the most important pit stop of them all, because it could be the last one. We are not expecting to see a caution unless, of course, there's an incident. The 01 has to make sure he doesn't overthink it like he did last week. You can't get into the wall late. Ran a perfect race, but that one little mistake late is what cost him just about his whole race. He still had a shot at it at the end, but I'm telling you, these things very aero dependent. When you don't have a lot of grip under you, and ooh, the 01, boy, he is getting a little bit sideways here. Gotta wonder if he's thinking about tires soon, and sure enough, there you go. He's gonna come down pit road this time. And wow, look who did a good job of closing the gap. How about Tyler Marble? He got just about to the side of Joshua Watson, and that's gonna help him get off pit road potentially ahead of the 01. We'll see, but this is guys willing to take risks to get on pit road a little bit quicker than the other guy, and that's what you might need here. After this, though, it is going to be a just under 40-lap sprint to the finish. I'd say that's about a medium to long run. Not the longest possible run we could see on these tires, but going to be pretty long either way. Let's see who wins the battle out of pit road, though, here. I think Tyler's going to get it, but who spins their tires less? And it looks like, nope, Joshua Watson's actually going to beat him out by about a car length. Getting back up to speed is crucial. This will probably be the battle for the lead once pit stops cycle out. It might be a little while before that happens, but we will have to make sure we keep an eye on these two, as I was waiting to see him get back on the track, because it looks like Tyler Marble is wanting to waste no time getting around the 01. Sitting in his draft now, trying to get to the outside. It looks like not quite able to do it, but as they get to turn 3, he's going to get a big arc. And he'll try to drop down back behind the 01 of Joshua Watson. Oh, man, they get so close to that wall off of turn 4. Still have yet to see anybody really riding the wall. We saw a couple people trying that line last week at Auto Club. Thought maybe it'd work here at Vegas, but it hasn't seemed to have been the case. It's been the bottom and middle lane. They've both shown speed at different times. And here you go, Tyler Marble now back side by side here with Joshua Watson. And they are going to try to get around. Oh, Brian Curry, that was a bad time for the 01 to catch. 3 wide, Jeffrey Souza's up top. The 01 slides up a little bit. Wow, that got really, really dicey for a second. They're both able to keep it clean. Brian Curry sitting in the middle, refusing to just go a lap down easily. And they are not going to be too happy if they cannot get around. But Tyler Marble trying to use this lap car as a pick. The 28 of Brian Curry. Let's make sure he is indeed a lap down. We've had so much mix-up with the pit stops. I figured he would have been, but he may not be. This may be him trying to fight just in general here, as it looks like, yeah, Brian is not a lap down. So excuse me, what it is here, Brian Curry is currently 11th on the lead lap. What he's wanting to do is try to hold these guys from getting their lap back. Put it that way. Brian Curry, solid run right now in 11th for Team Watson Racing. But these two just refuse to give it up. Still side by side in front of them. Tyler Marble, Joshua Watson, 10th and 9th. But let's go up front as they continue to battle it out and see if there's any battles up front. Looks like Carl Dotson and Ryan Haynes are going to be your top two. Carl Dotson has a huge lead over Ryan Haynes right now, though, over 11 seconds. Andy Tico is going to be third. Jacob Musso, fourth. Continues to try that strategy. Boy, he would like to see a caution at any time right now. Scott Glasso, 5th. Sean Kaltenbach, 6th. Andrew Neidhart, 7th. Joshua Watson, 8th. Tyler Marble, 9th. Brian Curry, 10th. It's going to be Alan Pajari, 11th. Jeff Marble, 12th. Nicholas Isaacs, 13th. Jeff Barnes, 14th. Brian Watson, 15th. Patrick Stein, 16th. Todd Shiro, 17th. Ryan Conklin, 18th. 19th is going to be Cody Richardson. Joe Musso, 20th. 21st. Andrew Kotska, 22nd. Dave Sanders, 23rd. Johnny McCulcheck, 24th. Jerry Isaacs, 25th. Cody James, Ryan Shiro, 26th. Bill Benedict, 27th. Richard Elliott, 28th. Glenn Grigsby, 29th. Austin Fitzgerald, 30th. 31st, Jeffrey Souza. 32nd, Cody Matthews, who is currently in the pits. Cody Graham, 33rd. Kyle Oakley, 34th. Saw Kyle Oakley, one of those cars that had an issue by themselves earlier. Tracy Powers, 35th. 36th, Scott Naslin. 37th, Jeff Shutt. 38th, Danny Gutierrez. Those last two cars have retired from the race. And after everybody finished their pit stops, that is when the real race is going to be on. Cody Richardson has fallen back just a little bit, but after pit stops, we'll see if he can maybe finish it off and get that top 10 finish that he would certainly like to see. Running comfortably inside the top 10 in points for the season so far, as we are 3 races in so far. We had a thriller at Daytona, a thriller at Auto Club. We'll see if we can get a thriller in Vegas here. A lot of high rollers in the field tonight. The two biggest gamblers are the two biggest gamblers right now are going to be Carl Dotson and Jacob Musso, in my opinion, as they have continued to try that strategy of getting a caution. There's a couple more guys trying it, though, and that would be Ryan Haynes, Scott Glasso. Sean Kaltenbach has been fast, too, but I look to see him eventually get passed by Joshua Watson and Tyler Marble, who I think will be on much, much better tires. And these two just can't seem to get separated, almost like they got a magnet on the back bumper of the 01 and a magnet on the front of the 48, because they just continue to get together. I'll tell you what, it looks like Brian Curry, after they got by, hasn't lost too much touch yet with him, and this is good because Brian is not on as new of tires, so the closer he can stay, the longer the run goes on, the tires will slowly start to even out. They will always be a little bit faster on the newer tires, but he'll be in less risk of falling back to anybody. It also gives him a little bit of draft on the straightaways, which is never a bad thing. And the only people that Carl Dotson really had to race was some lappers, but right now, looks to be a pretty clean track. He is about to be coming up on the 18th and 17th place cars. Scott Glasso, he's also got some pretty clean track in front of him, assuming he can hold off Richard Elliott. Richard Elliott is the second car lap down. It looks like Johnny McCulcheck is currently a lap down, maybe a little bit more than that. Richard Elliott is actually the 4th car lap down now, as we had a couple more just go a lap down. So Johnny McCulcheck, if we were to get a caution right now, would get the free pass. And as this race goes on and we see more and more cars lose a lap, if we somehow were to get a caution, it would still only be a race potentially between the top 15, top 20, because that's what happens the longer we go green. Oh, I'm seeing smoke. Oh, looks like we do have a crash potentially with Cody Graham. No caution, so I don't want to get anybody too excited. Potentially here, looks like the 91 has got it back going, but let's see what happened. I think he may have been the smoke that we just saw there on the backstretch. This is coming out of turn 2. Let's see what happens to him. Oh, it looks like he's already getting loose. Wow, that was close between him and Sean Kaltenbach. Sure enough, it is going to be the 91 spinning Cody Graham. I'll tell you what, he did a nice job, though, locking it down when he did, because you saw that car was just getting ready to go back up on track. The wheels were still rolling. But as soon as he locks it down, it turns it from going back up the track to an innocent slide. Fortunately, though, that will cause him to lose track position. Let's back this up a little more and take a few more angles at it. Oh, wow. So this had been going on for a while. Oh, my goodness. This was a lot more of a mess than it initially looked like. So let's start with the chopper view. Here we go. Watch the 91 Monster Energy in the middle lane. You see Sean Kaltenbach's trying to drop below him. Oh, and you see Sean get out of gas, but it's too late. The 91, maybe not quite clear. Let's take one more look at this. And you see Sean, maybe on newer tires, maybe just a little faster. He felt like he's going to try to dive it under here. And it looks like it's really, really borderline right here. But it looks like as they get into this turn, Sean has already committed to it. The 91 thought maybe he'd be able to get down in time. But either way, whether it's a miscommunication on either guy's part, not sure. But they make just that slight contact. And the 91, I mean, trying everything to hold on to it. But it looks like Sean Kaltenbach maybe makes just a slight bit more contact. Gets back on the apron, and finally, he's going to spin this thing out over here as he hits the apron again. And right there, that's the finishing. Right here, though, watch this. Sean Kaltenbach, look how close that gets. Wow, and the 95 as well. That's Jacob Musso, Andrew Needhart. A lot of these guys darting out of the way to try to avoid it. And the 91 spins, slides. Let's go back live. We don't want to miss too much action. Good save, though, again. By the 91 right there of Cody Graham. Heads up driving. Carl Dotson still leads Scott Glasso second. Joshua Watson third, but him and Tyler Marble back to battle and side by side down the Niels straightaway. The 48 has the preferred lane in my opinion, but wow, Joshua Watson gets really aggressive right there. He's going to slide right up in front of the 48. Tries to take his arrow away, but here's that big run that we see that you get from the outside. This time he's just going to use it to push the one of Joshua Watson, and I kind of thought maybe they'd be working together a little bit here to catch Carl Dotson and Scott Glasso as much as they can. They both currently sit, well, actually they're just about on the back bumper here of Scott Glasso, but Carl Dotson is 7 seconds ahead. He does still have to pit. So this is what's looking like the battle for the lead right now. Alan Pajari, last week's winner, currently sits 9th. Jacob Musso has fallen to 10th after that really close near miss. Cody Richardson 16th, Johnny McCulchuk 17th, Jeff Barnes 14th, Brian Coughlin 13th for Team Marble iRacing, Jeff Marble 10th. And the highest running Team Marble iRacing driver right now is, of course, Tyler Marble, who is still trying everything he can to find a way around this 01. And I don't know if we're seeing a big 3 shape up just yet, but I can tell you what 2 of them would be if we are, and that would certainly be the 01 and the 48. Just about every race, those have been the guys at the front. It seems like Team Marble iRacing maybe struggled just a little bit at Daytona. We saw just how dominant JBR Racing was at the Super Speedway. Giant world center of racing, Daytona Super Speedway, that is. When we go back to Talladega, we'll see if that seems to be the case, but Team Marble is starting to pick it up here, these non-Super Speedway tracks. Las Vegas being the first mile and a half. There's quite a few mile and a halves on the schedule, so it's definitely one of the track types that you want to make sure you get good at. And I'll tell you what, it is flying by because we are just about to hit 20 laps to go here in Vegas. And we will see what the lucky number is tonight. Is it going to be the 01, the 48? Can Scott Glasso somehow, on those old tires, find a way? I don't think he is. I think he's used up whatever he's got. That was part of the strategy of pitting early. And now it's just how many people can he hold off for the next 20 laps. We got a couple guys, though, that should still be slowly making their way through the field. We'll have to see how it all pans out. And look on your scoring tower there to the left as we see just how many cars are still on the lead lap currently as it runs. We have 21 cars on the lead lap, and we started with 37. It looks like 26 are 1 lap down or less. Ryan Shiro, last week's pole sitter, not necessarily the run he wanted tonight as he sits 23rd, not on the lead lap. But only 1 lap down, so he still could have a chance. Richard Elliott currently the first car a lap down. It looks like we saw a little bit more smoke right there. I think that was just from pit road. And try to see if we can see anybody down here right now. Don't see anything. Boy, we have seen a lot of close calls. Near cautions tonight, haven't we? Good thing about iRacing is as long as the car is not in the middle of the track, no caution is thrown. But I'll tell you what, sometimes that can certainly be frustrating as a driver. Let's go back to what is going to be the battle for the lead now, and we'll really start to get settled in on it. It looks like Scott Glasso is kind of hanging with, and you know who else has rebounded all of a sudden is Brian Curry. And this has been a little bit interesting. Normally when you see 2 guys on newer tires get in front of a couple guys on older tires, they pull away. But in the case of Brian Curry and Scott Glasso, they both got past pretty easily. by Tyler and Joshua once they got to him, but then all of a sudden, once they get behind him, they've been able to stay pretty close. And maybe they'll have a chance here at the end, as we will be coming to 17 laps to go. Carl Dotson still leading, just hoping on everything that they can somehow get a caution. But as it runs, he is going to get past before we can get to the checkered flag anyway, and it's not going to matter no matter what strategy he had in mind. 48 trying a different line right now as he continues to run that low to middle groove. The 01 looked like he went a little bit higher up that time, maybe finding something that's working for him in the long run here. These cars do change as the day progresses. We can check in on your weather currently. The wind is one of the things, however, that has not changed. Still 15 miles an hour and gusting. Track temp should have went up potentially a little bit right now, but it looks like the air temp has potentially cooled down a little bit at 57 now, as you see the shadow, still at 67, excuse me. But you do see the shadows from the sides starting to go onto the track. I don't think they run dynamic weather, though, here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Carl Dotson here in a little bit of lap traffic, and if that 02 of Richard Elliott can somehow find a way around the 29, that'd be pretty important for him, because he'd be able to get himself back onto the lead lap, and then wouldn't have to worry about potentially not getting a lucky dog if he were to somehow get involved in the caution. I'll tell you who else would like to see that is Ryan Shiro, because that would move him up to the lucky dog spot. And I think the guy right now that doesn't want to see any cautions and wants to see this thing go green is going to be the 01 of Joshua Watson. He is continuing to slowly put a gap on the car behind him of Tyler Marble. Scott Glasso, Brian Curry, they refuse to go away. And I'm more impressed here with Brian Curry, because he has been out there so much longer than the rest of these guys, but made sure to do a good job on those tires, not overdo it. And here he is, running up inside the top 5 with 14 laps to go here in Las Vegas. Ryan Haynes in 12th. Haven't talked too much about him tonight. Pretty good run for the BMP Racing driver. Behind him is Team Marble iRacing driver Brian Conklin. Then it's Jeff Barnes, Nicholas Isaacs. Carl Dotson still leading. When will he decide to pit? And there could be a chance that I potentially missed something here. He somehow did pit, but I just don't see it. There's no way, because of the gap that he had created. Now, like I said, note either way, it's not going to matter, because the leaders are catching him at plenty enough of a pace that they will be there before the race is over to pass him anyway. But Carl Dotson should have to pit again. Joshua Watson right now maybe has it a little bit on cruise controls. He just wants to make sure that 48, yeah, excuse me, if Tyler Marble doesn't get any closer to him. Brian Curry and Scott Glasso look like they're going to try to go at it into turn 1. Brian Curry on the top, Scott Glasso on the bottom. And I think that top lane on older tires might be the place to be. Momentum, really, really important. Oh, Scott Glasso got really loose. You saw him slide and go down the track. That's going to use up a little bit more tires. He has to fall back in line. That puts him back to 5th. Brian Curry up to 4th. But Scott Glasso, Andrew Nieder in 6th. 15 and 12. Both the amount of positions there up from the start of the race. So it has been a successful night for them. Joshua Watson is also in the positive so far tonight. So is Brian Curry. A lot of guys that started farther back made a positive day out of it. But we are just about to get into our final 10 laps here at Las Vegas. If you are just tuning in, we've only seen one caution tonight, and it was way earlier in the race. Since then, it has been green flag running and green flag pit stops, as you can now see Joshua Watson in the same frame here with Carl Dotson. The gap is down to half a second. So in the next lap or two, that 01 will be going right by. Now, though, will we see any of these lap cars as potentially going side by side? Will that affect the 01? He's going to go to the outside here of the 93. I believe that is either Joe or Eddie Musso. I think that's actually going to be Joe Musso. Sure enough, it is. But some of these lappers, they don't want to go any more down, and if you catch any of these guys that aren't quite a lap down, but they would be getting put a lap down, they're not going to hand over that lead lap so easily. Jeffrey Souza, Carl Dotson, it's still a battle for the lead, so you got to wonder, is he just thinking about doing everything he can to hold this 01 behind him? He'd have to hold it off for another 8 laps, and there's just no way. You see the speed difference. The 01 just caught him about 4 car lengths, and here he goes. Going to go right around the outside, 3 wide down the back stretch. Oh, Carl Dotson's making some contact now. He really leaned on the door there. Got to be careful. They're able to keep it together. Carl Dotson That is going to finish up his stuff, it looks like, as Joshua Watson is going to reclaim the lead. And here comes Tyler Marble. Doesn't look like that gave any damage to either of the cars. And we're going to stay up front, but we will tell you the running order real quick, as it is going to be Danny Gutierrez finished last as of right now. 37th, Jeff Shutt. 36th, Scott Naslin. 35th, Tracy Powers. 34th, Cody Graham. And now we see Tyler Marble is going to go around the outside of Carl Dotson as well. 33rd is going to be, 34th, Cody Graham. 33rd, Kyle Oakley. Ooh, that got really close between Tyler Marble. Trying to read the order, but these guys are getting really crazy. Jeffrey Souza, 32nd. Austin Fitzgerald, 31st. Glenn Grigsby, 30th. Cody Matthews, 29th. Jerry Isaacs, 28th. Todd Shiro, 27th. Patrick Stein, 26th. Ryan Shiro, 25th. Bill Benedict, 24th. Andy Tico, 23rd. Joe Musso, 22nd. Richard Elliott, 21st. Dave Sanders, 20th. Cody James, 19th. Johnny McCallcheck, 18th. Andrew Kotska, 17th. Cody Richardson, 16th. Nicholas Isaac, 15th. Jeff Barnes, 14th. Brian Conklin, 13th. Ryan Haynes, 12th. Jacob Musso, 11th. Sean Kaltenbach, 10th. And now as we get into your top 10, we'll talk about them later in the race, because up front, this will be the battle for the win with 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 next time. The 28 of Brian Curry somehow not lost touch with this pack just yet. But can Tyler Marble find something here in what's going to be these last 5 laps to catch the 01? Tell you what, Joshua just looks really fast and really stable. But Brian Curry actually looks like he might be thinking about making a move here further back on the 48 of Tyler Marble. Wasn't quite able to do it that time. But all of a sudden, this 28 has some speed in the long run. And I tell you, Team Watson Racing brought some really fast cars here to Vegas. We saw Sean Kaltenbach start on the pole, ran pretty fast for a decent amount of the race, and now here's his teammate in third, potentially fighting for second. The next lap or two, Joshua Watson on the other hand is saying, hey guys, go ahead, battle as hard as you want. He'll just continue to pull away if he can. 4 laps to go here in Las Vegas. Tyler Marble still leading that 28. 3-car breakaway. After that, it is Carl Dotson in 4th. Good strategy, and I'll tell you what now, so I take it back. Carl Dotson, what he did, for anybody that's maybe wondering, and again, I don't know the exact laps of fuel. There's so many guys on track, sometimes it is hard to keep up, so I do apologize, but Carl Dotson pitted plenty early from what it looks like, and by doing that, he got out so much earlier, made up a ton of ground. Maybe he took less tires too, potentially. Not sure the exact strategy they did, but what he did was got himself such a big lead. Unfortunately, though, they conned him when they went by. They pulled away, but it's looking like it's going to work out, as it might get him a top 5 finish if he can hold on to that 4th or 5th place spot for another 3 laps. Scott Glasso, Alan Pajari, 7th, 8th, Jeff Marble, as he is just going to get by Brian Watson. 9th, Sean Kaltenbach. And 10th is going to be Sean Kaltenbach has now moved back to 10th up front. The 01 goes around the lap car of Richard Elliott. Joshua Watson sees the 2 to go. Now he just wants to see the white flag, because what he sees in his mirror is a whole lot of racing between Tyler Marble and Brian Curry. And they just barely got around the lap car of Richard Elliott. Brian Curry takes over the 2nd spot. How about the late charge from the 28 of Brian Curry? Now up 11 spots from where he started. I don't think he's going to have enough to catch Joshua Watson, but we'll find out. Here we go out of turn 4. It is going to be white flag in the air one more time around for Joshua Watson. Can he hold on? He had been dominant just about all day diving into turn 1. At this point, he has got himself just over a 1/4 of a second lead, but I think it's going to be enough with what we've seen so far. I'll tell you what, he is checking everything but his mirror right now. He wants to get to the checkered flag as soon as he can. He has been dominant most of the day, didn't start on pole, but once he got up front, he never really looked back. Saw some battling, but off of turn 4 for JBR E-Racing, Joshua Watson wins at Las Vegas. And what a performance from the 01. Pretty dominating tonight, and we will have a chance to talk with him. Your top 3, though, right now is going to be Joshua Watson, Brian Curry, and Tyler Marble. And like I said, hats off to Brian Curry. We saw he pitted a lot earlier than these guys. Once the tires evened out, he managed to stay up here. Everybody going to give Joshua a congratulatory bump, as they should. They know what they just saw. They just saw a clinic being put on by the driver of the 01. And as he gets around here, gets ready to burn it out, let's take a look at your finishing results tonight for the Las Vegas Spring 200. Down here to your race results. Finishing first tonight is the man that you see burning it down across the line right now, Joshua Watson. Second, Brian Curry. Third, Tyler Marble. Fourth is going to be Andrew Nieder. Fifth, Scott Glasso. Sixth, Carl Dotson. Seventh, Alan Pajari. Eighth, Jeff Marble. Ninth is going to be Brian Watson. And rounding out the top 10, Sean Kaltenbach. Jacob Musso, 11th. Brian Coughlin, 12th. Ryan Haynes finishes 13th. 14th is Jeff Barnes. 15th, Nicholas Isaacs. Cody Richardson finishes just outside the top 15. Andrew Kotska, 17th. Johnny McCulchek, 18th. Moving on to 19th, it's going to be Cody James. 20th, Dave Sanders. 21st, Richard Elliott. 22nd, Joe Musso. 23rd, Andy Tico. 24th, Bill Benedict. 25th, Ryan Shiro. 26th, Patrick Steen. 27th, Todd Shiro. 28th, Jerry Isaacs. 29th, Cody Matthews. 30th, Austin Fitzgerald. 31st, Glenn Grigsby. 32nd, Jeffrey Souza. 33rd, Kyle Oakley. 34th, Cody Graham. Tracy Powers finishes 35th. 36th, Scott Naslin. And the last car in the field tonight finishing 37th. It's going to be Jeff Shutton. 38th. The last car in the field is going to be Danny Gutierrez in the 08. Let's go and see if we can't get some potential interviews here from your top three. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, and we have found your top three. We are going to first start with third place finisher Tyler Marble. Tyler, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, at different points in the night, we saw you and the 01 battling pretty hard. It looked like at the end, though, the 01 maybe just had a little bit of a better car. The 28 squeaked by you there close to the end, but either way, you bring it home on the podium for Team Marble iRacing. How'd you get it done tonight?
Good qualifying effort, saving tires, and going hard when I need to, and a good pitch strategy. There's a lot that goes in here with this car on mile and a halves. So yeah, I'll take third.
Well, third place is nothing to be ashamed of. Should help your points situation out a little bit more here in the third race of the season. Before we let you go, though, tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
I'd like to thank you for broadcasting. You do a great job. Everybody's watching. Give this guy lots of love. He does a great job for the little time he's been doing it. I'd like to thank LA Will Repair Specialist out of Richmond for title sponsoring our series. I'd like to thank Capital Auto for the Noble races, Buck Kicker, Sim Racer Hub, my teammates. Yeah, iRacing iFlag. Thank you everybody, and be at Phoenix next week. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is your third place finisher, Tyler Marble, in the 48 car for Team Marble iRacing. Let's move on now to your second place finisher, and that is Brian Curry. Brian, you got a copy?
10-4, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you may not have got the win, but you may have impressed me the most tonight because when the leaders went by you there, when we still had a decent amount of laps to go, I thought for sure you'd fall back. It looks like somehow, though, you were able to recover and steal second. Do you think maybe if there was 10 more laps, you had a shot at the win there?
It's hard to say. I felt like, you always want to think that you could. The car was definitely coming. It was weird through the center of that run, through the middle of it. It really got loose and twitchy on me. I thought it was just going to keep getting worse. but it didn't. And slowly we started reeling those guys in, and they got to racing a little bit. Lap cars got into play a little bit, and yeah, maybe I don't know, 5 more laps or so might have been able to do something with them.
All right, well, I had another question for you because we saw in the pre-race that it was pretty windy compared to what we normally see. Was the wind affecting the way your car was handling it all tonight, or not really?
I couldn't really say one way or another. I don't think it did. Um, I was a little bit tighter than the couple open races that I'd ran this week. Um, but no, I don't think the wind really had much to do with that. I think it was just track temperature.
All right, well, it is certainly hot as we are out here in the desert. Before we let you go, there is anyone else you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Thank my teammates Andy and Sean, everybody at Team Watson Racing Setups. If anybody's looking for a good quality shop to go check out, definitely look into those guys. Kenny and James and all those guys do a really great job. It's a great community, and you get what the fast guys get. I mean, what I'm running tonight is what you will purchase. So check them out.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your second place finisher, Brian Curry, brings it home on the podium in the 28 car. And now let's move on to your winner. I know we've talked to this guy a couple times before. We're talking to him again, Joshua Watson. Joshua, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, bud.
Well, you were so close at Auto Club last week. Looked like you just made a slight mistake that took it away from you at the end. Not tonight at Vegas. How'd you manage to dominate so much there at the end, and what were you thinking there coming to the line?
Oh, it was just a lot of being patient, not killing the tires too early in the run, trying to play the pitch strategy right. That caution shook some stuff up as far as how strategy was going to work and everything. And I see some of the guys trying to one stop it, and the second run there before the second or the last pit stop, I was really debating on whether I was going to go when I did or wait a little bit. And I'm kind of glad we were able to go when we did, and I think that made the difference. It was just overall great setup this week. I've always struggled for some reason at the mile and a half, so to come out of Vegas um, with the win and everything is just it's amazing. It definitely a big confidence booster, especially after last week, kind of getting heartbroken there, giving that one away with like two to go, just by a stupid mistake of getting in the gas too soon and letting the car hit the wall and slipping that one away. So it was nice to come back tonight. Um, I know we didn't lead as many laps as we did last week, but sometimes that's what it takes is being patient. Things will come to you.
Well, it's certainly, I don't know if I would completely agree with you not being the best amount of halves because you guys have now shown that JBR E-Racing has been fast at the super speedways, the 2 mile and the mile and a half. What is it that's making JBR E-Racing so strong here at the start of the season?
It it's all the teamwork. It's my brother Brian, um, Richard, Danny, our other partner. Like I said, not here, Adrian. We've all get on and test all the time, whether it's together at separate times. Everybody's testing, trying different things. So it's really just I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it has to do a lot with the team. These guys work hard day in and day out and throughout the week, and just the feedback that we give to one another, I think is what's really been helping us. Like I said, I really have struggled at mile and a halfs through about the midway point of last season. So kind of come back and put in the work and the effort that these guys have put in is quite amazing, and just they're all second to none on this team. Best teammates you could have. So that's what it comes down to is just teamwork.
All right, awesome. Well, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight?
Everybody on the team that I just named, Glasgow Volunteer Fire Department, Ryko Setups for putting out the good setups and everything they do with customer support and feedback. Um, Hoyt, Moultrie, Palmer, uh, Mayer Brothers, and obviously my family, my kids, my niece, my nephew, my girlfriend, and my parents for their support. Like I said before, this a lot of people think this is maybe a game, but sometimes when you get your competitive side coming in, it could turn into more than just a game, and it's hard to get these guys on any given night. So, like to thank all of them. you for putting on the broadcast, Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist for the sponsorship, and Jeff and Tyler for putting on this league for us.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is your race winner tonight, Joshua Watson in the 01 for JBR E-Racing. And that is just about going to wrap up our coverage. Next, Ghost Racing Network tomorrow night heads over to Ron Morris Money Racing for Tuesday Night Thunder. Race will be at Talladega. Don't miss out on it. The next stop for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series will be at Phoenix. We'll see how this shakes up the points. I hope everybody did enjoy it. One more congratulations to your race winner tonight, Joshua Watson. We will see you guys next time and have a good one.